Hi, I'm Ken Doan, and maybe you'd like to have a look around in my studio. This is where I make things. This is like a kitchen, you know. Artist studios, I think, are quite interesting. You can make paintings without having a big studio. You can paint on the kitchen table, but I guess for me, I need a fairly big space. The studio overlooks the beach, so I'm very fortunate to be here. And the beach, of course, is a constant source of inspiration. The beach and the garden are things that I'm looking at. But look, you can find inspiration in a vase of flowers, and you don't have to look far. You can find things around your house that if they're interesting enough, you can paint them. Or maybe even paint the feeling of them. It doesn't have to be literally them, it could be just the feeling of things. It's always a great joy to see the beach and to see it change. So this morning I thought what we might do is really just try to start a little beach picture. Yeah, there's always a few paintings in the studio that I like to continue to look at. And this particular painting, it's really based on the garden. Not literally what the garden looks like, but what it feels like. Like a few months ago, there was a big pink tree, it's a magnolia tree, it was in the middle. So this part is about the magnolia tree. These blue things are about the echiums that in the garden actually grow up in the corner, but it's a painting, it's not a photograph. I can move things around. And this piece along the bottom is the lavender, or the feeling of the lavender. And then in this corner, there are lots of very bright bougainvillea in this house and in this garden. And so it's very red, very pink, but it's red and pink because of the bits of green that go beside it. This is like notes on the piano. Color, it's always the other color that you put with it that'll tell you something about the feeling. But I like this painting. It's the feeling of the garden. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is a picture of the feeling of looking out my studio window, past the palm trees, seeing the water and seeing the beach. So the first thing I've got to do is put down the sea. So there's a bit of that color, and I'll mix it up with another bit of that color. And then I'll just get the feeling of the sea, and I know that that's where the edge of the beach is going to be. I think the interesting thing about a painting like this, it's better to keep the sea fairly transparent. So there's the water, and this part will be the beach. Always interesting where the edge of the sand meets the water. That's the feeling of the beach, but it's a bit dark. So we'll just take a bit of it off. That's quite interesting, you know. Always the edge of where the sea meets the beach, there's always a little bit of white that comes from the surf, so a bit of foam in. When you walk down the steps to where the palm trees are, there's some kind of steps in the corner of the garden. So we'll just describe them as steps. And then we'll put the palm tree in. Now, the palm trees, they're a kind of browny colored, but no, I think it's more interesting to make them something else. More interesting to make them blue. And you can see because the sea is wet, that it's making the edge of the palm trees kind of spread out a little bit. So I know that later on I'm going to come back and I'm going to put an interesting color into there. Yeah, the palm trees are a kind of interesting yellowy green. So we'll start off with the yellow part. And maybe they'll stay yellow, maybe that. And look, this is an old brush. It's probably important to always clean your brushes, but sometimes with an old brush, you can do some interesting things. So that's the start of the palm tree. This is, oh look at that, that's a good color. This is why these plates become beautiful in themselves, because they've got so much going on them. So we'll use that cobalt violet. So I'm going to do some rocks up here because there are rocks at the end of the beach. And even though I've still got that yellow on the end of that brush, that's okay. I can pick it up and I can put the rocks or the feeling of the rocks in like that. I also know that there's some more stonework up at the end, and there's a headland that's kind of green. Look, how you choose your colors, I think is just like a musician choosing the note. I don't know how I choose them, but it's just an intuitive thing. So far, the beach is all right, although it's still a bit dark there. The sea is good. The palm trees are on the way. They need something up there. And in truth, it does need to dry now so that I can put the next part on it. And when I finish this painting, the only part that might be left from this original thing might be the water itself, which I'm still quite happy with. The rest of it, you know, it's a work in progress, you know, work in progress.